steer the space revolution globally and influence the next generation of space scientists, enthusiasts, and geoscience community. By now, I think we already know who I'm talking about. Where is she? Oh, where is she? Yes, please. Vivian Netta. Clap for her. Of course, the screen would, is also giving up the names, but I just wanted to maybe read the bio and then you can guess if you know the password. So yes, thank you so much. I think I'm going to get a microphone here. Oh, yes, I think I would start with Eddie, because you're right, you're beside me. Antugro, tell us, what is it, or that, and then tell us what it does, and why you're so passionate about this, and basically how it can transform the agricultural system.
Thanks. So, hi, good morning. Founder of Antugro, and Antugro is a great data company, and as a data company, what we do is that we think of agriculture from a food systems approach. So we are heavily research-backed. We've done lots of research in food systems from pre-planting to post-harvest management and nutrition in terms of understanding the food systems, and not just say that we can just do tech for the farm. So how we approach it is we look at from pre-planting to planting to the growth of the crop to now the harvesting. So what does this mean to the farmer? So that means data. So where we play is largely within the entire food system cycle, and how we do it is we take different sources of data. So from soil data, where we have our own kit which tests the soil and also tests your pH, which we complement now with satellite data in terms of moisture index, and also looking at what's happening for your daily activities. So we do all this with an aim to create a profile for you as a farmer and for you as a farmer. And then this profile helps us to rank you so that now we can know how much money you might need based on your farm. So as you know, typical loan processing systems with banks are not very vast and also not very standardized for processing loans for farmers and also financial services. And their financial needs based on the different data sources we've combined. So that's Antugro in a nutshell.
Wow. Excellent, thank you so much. And of course, this is an innovation and investment forum, right? So are you already working with partners here, like banks, and because you've mentioned loans, you've mentioned farmers, yeah, so are you already working with them?
Oh yeah, sure. So we have a recent partnership with Starvision to provide us with accurate satellite data that now we can feed into our credit scoring model. Because our main engine is the credit scoring engine, which, of course, is backed by all these different data sources. And, of course, we are also looking to partner with financial institutions. We are already in talks with some. There's a good reception because now there's an understanding that you can know, as a loan officer, for example, you can know this is the viability of this loan that you're giving. Or even as a partner, you could be in Nairobi and you want to invest in a farm, and you're not necessarily a financial institution as an individual. You can actually see which farm to work with and put your money in. So that's another model we're hybridizing for investment and working with our farmers.
Excellent, thank you so much. Wow, when you say that, I think it unlocks the whole potential, not just for banks, but for insurance, for input, solution providers. So I'm going to just pick one table, especially a table of friends, this side, just to mention the county that you're from. Not a lot of things. Don't even stand up. Just say the county from Kasera. Which county are you from? Homa Bay, Machakos, Elgeyo Marakwet. The next person is Husna. That's why I wanted to also say if there are GIS labs in those counties. So, well, FAO and the Digital Land Governance Program. Nearly everybody has seen your work or seen you. So tell us, what is this Digital Land Governance Program?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I almost thought you were going to ask me which county I'm from. My name is Husna from FAO. As also stated earlier by our moderator, Digital Land Governance Program is a program which looks into aspects of digitalization, and they're part of embracing technology at different levels, but also looks into aspects of land tenure, which brings the issues of course, tenure, security, and also the sustainable management of land, resource and environment. But further to that, it enhances capacities involved in the land tenure fraternity towards food and nutrition security. But also the other bit which the program is working on is how best can we resolve the conflicts and disputes around land so we can be able to unlock the land potential towards development and selfishly towards food and nutrition security. So that's a short version of the program, but just to add in, yes, indeed, the program supports innovation in the use of technology, but also supports the development of various systems at various levels. As FAO, being an agency of a specialized agency of the UN, we're here to support governments, but working alongside various other partners, including the other intergovernmental bodies, the academia, non-governmental or non-state actors, communities and farmers directly. So the program supports both hardware and software. Hardware, I think, is the discussion, probably in our own definition, is the aspects of the infrastructure itself, both from the equipments to systems, and the software is the capacities enhancement processes, which we've worked, and I've seen a lot of our partners here who we've been able to work with, including RCMRD, to be able to enhance capacities of the state to embrace technologies, and in this case, GIS. In the creation of the software, some of the iconic areas we've been able to support or work in partnership as the development of the National Land Information Management System, and also iconically the Kenya Integrated Agriculture Management System, which was actually handed over 2 weeks ago to the government. As we speak now, it's talking of 8 million, over 8 million registered farmers in that platform. Why this, just to give a little bit of preview, is that, of course, we talk about data for purposes of policy direction, but also resource allocation. And most importantly, the reach in terms of inputs, agriculture inputs and stuff. So this actually forms the base for it. So when we are talking about fertilizers going out, you know the numbers, and I think data is the main in thing when we talk, when we look into technologies and the use and the digitalization agenda in the world. Just additionally also, as we speak now, we know that for the National Land Information Management System, of course, currently it's all about digitizing records, but the next phase of it is to be able to really interact with that data. And currently there is quite some integration around the various sectors in the country, Kenya. Noting clearly, and as Gerald was asking, if those counties, was it what? Homa Bay?
Homa Bay, Machakos, and Eldoret.
Yes. Do you know that you have GIS laboratories in those counties? Oh, yes, they are all nodding actually. Great, yes. So we've been able to work with the various counties, actually almost all the counties, not all, actually some, not somehow, but all the counties. And of course with the various partners who are here to be able to establish these laboratories, to be able to support data and information, but also I know some of you have been able also to interact with those counties using the GIS lab to be able to engage on a number of things, including dashboards on agriculture and digitalization, discussion on land tenure. Some of the counties, actually more than half, now even have a revenue collection system using those laboratories. And one very iconic aspect is the integration of those various sectors from agriculture, lands, education, health in counties, so they can be able to better their decision-making mechanism and policy direction. We have seen an increase even in terms of revenue. If you didn't know that the Ministry of Lands was awarded the other day in terms of one of the best revenue collector in the country, and we look forward to really see that the use of these technologies and system not only improves service delivery, is in the services, doing business, but also ensuring that there is transparency and accountability in it. We all know, I mean, what happens when every data can be accessed and information can be accessed. So as not only in terms of hastening the delivery of service, but ensuring that the rightful data is used and easily accessed, not only by the user and the ministry, but also all the counties, but also in case there is conflict and dispute is easily resolved in this case. So in a nutshell, that is what we are currently doing. Just a little bit, we are piloting a process which Kenya has been working for a while now, and that is the aspects of suitability and capabilities of not only soil but the various land and the zoning areas, meaning that we're enhancing the aspects of land use planning, but also looking a little bit deeper into that. And we've chosen some few value chains, that is coffee and tea currently. And we all know in Kenya now, there has been a lot of discussion about policy discussion around the same, but also looking at the challenges faced in aspects of change of use on land, where we are losing our tea farms and coffee farms. So there's a call for us to be able to see how we can expand to other terrains. And as we speak, I know that there is a discussion around Migori on coffee, apparently, and other counties. So these are some of the things we are doing, trying to to embrace and work with the various county and national governments and other partners, and also trying to ensure that there is one-stop point where you can get information to be able not only to guide farmers, but also the policymakers and also investors at various level. And I think that one-stop point is very, very crucial at all levels of decision making, but also ensuring that there is sustainable management of these lands and the environments which are being used, noting that they are all limited too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the very comprehensive, delve into the sector and what you do. And maybe just as a follow-up, in maybe a minute or two, is there like one or two maybe challenges that you see that could maybe help the program if they are unlocked? And maybe as a follow-up to that, are there opportunities for private sector collaboration, and even as these innovations are being presented, are there maybe opportunities for them being maybe adopted or considered for solving some of these pertinent issues, like for example coffee intervention and land use changes and those kinds of things?
Thank you for that. Challenges, yes, there are quite a lot of challenges, and I think it's taken so much time to even adopt or embrace the use of technology in not only in the agriculture sector and land sector, but all the sector. I have to mention one of the big challenges which we're seeing is the silo. I think Charles mentioned it. The silo way of working at different levels. So there is lack of coordination or organization of this, because if you look at the counties, they stand, of course, they are mandated. If you look at the national government, also mandated. So you'll find that counties have their own, let's say, they are embracing their own system, depending on who's have been able to approach and they've been speaking to them. So they are embracing their own ways, but also national government is the same, doing their own thing. And within those also there is the departmental silos within. Just to give an example, you'll find that, of course, we have the Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Lands doing their thing, the Ministry of Agriculture doing their thing, Forestry, Environment, everybody's doing their thing. But one big question has never been responded to is how are we integrating this? And actually, just to say why this is quite challenging, because we kept on saying there's no data, there's no information. There's a process which we've involved most of you here, the development of the Kenya Natural Resource Atlas. And that is the time we felt that actually there is a lot of data out there, but departments and ministries or organizations are not working together. Everybody extension in the country, where the extension work within the agriculture sector, where private sector are really taking a lead in this. I had mentioned earlier to a friend that came in Kenya, don't quote me, but it has proven with time now that this is where actually the private sector needs to stage in supporting not only farmers but also the various groups and communities who are working at various levels. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Indeed, interesting. So, if you have any solutions, and as a private sector, I think this is your opportunity to engage. So, Eric, we are on to you now. So, please, tell us and share your perspectives about, generally how we can tap into this agricultural potential, and especially, with OCA and with ISK in general. How do we mobilize this potential in the country?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Agriculture is a mainstay for the economy, and there are a number of things that need to be done so that we can improve productivity. One of these, of course, would be things like investing more into large-scale farming. At the moment, we are a lot into small-scale farming, which, of course, can feed the kitchens that we have, but does not provide enough food to sustain the population. So investment in large-scale farming would be a plus. And that, of course, goes in with the aspects of intensive irrigation. That could be another way of sustaining agricultural productivity. Investment in weather prediction, especially where we have rain-fed agriculture. It is important to have some predictability in weather so that the farmers can be informed adequately and that they can be able to plant at the right time so that their efforts don't go to waste. We also need to make efforts to reduce post-harvest losses, and that can be done through the use of technology, developing market linkage applications that can help the farmers connect to their customers. And we have seen a lot of development in that area, a lot of support coming from the World Bank and other partners in developing this kind of solutions. And my company has also been involved in getting some of that done. And that, of course, has led even to the Kenya Agricultural Management Information System. The other aspect is like what Husna has talked about in terms of extension services. And I know that traditionally we had people who were employed by government who would be moving across the village to try and support the farmers. But we can also take advantage of that and use technology where the farmers can be able to access those extension services. And this can be done directly through feature-enabled phones or the featureless phones to get access to this kind of services. But the other aspect would be to ensure appropriate delivery mechanisms, especially for the produce. And that means that we have to improve on the transport infrastructure so that the roads which get a lot of issues, especially when it rains, like they're muddy and people are not able to deliver their produce, can be sorted out so that the transport infrastructure is improved for that delivery. Of course, since we are here talking about Earth observation, it's also important to institute Earth observation more into agriculture. I know that there are attempts to do that, But these are still at a small scale, and we need to ramp up that, and that's why I'm saying investment in large-scale farming can be a very good user of Earth observation technology. So we need to be able to monitor vegetation health. We need to be able to collect agricultural statistics, or do census for that in a more regular manner, to be able to analyze things like output and see the kind of impact that is being created through a number of interventions. We can also be able to monitor regularly the crops, because now we have companies like Planet which are able to image the world on a daily basis. So that means that that kind of regular analysis or regular monitoring of the crops or agriculture can be better done. We also need to reduce on the competition between the urban, and I know Usna talked about that, the aspects of change of use, changing of agriculture to urban, maybe because the people see that there is immediate gain when you build houses and sell the houses, as opposed to in the agriculture, especially the cash crop, which has been faced with a number of issues, from competition to lack of proper investment on the side of the government. So reducing that competition, making use of Earth observation to be able to identify better areas that can be used for urban development, as opposed to using areas which could be used for agriculture. But all in all, I think there is a potential in the private sector coming in with the development of simple to use applications which can be deployed either on web or mobile platforms that can then be consumed by the farmers, so to speak, to be able to access the markets and access information that would be necessary for them to be able to improve on their productivity. Yes, submit.
Indeed, thank you so much. And maybe just as a quick follow-up, how can we leverage, the geospatial community, in our space, and especially in mainstreaming, agricultural policy currently? And do we know where farmers are, from that perspective?
I think there's a lot of effort that has gone in to do mapping of farmers through the support of World Bank and other donor organizations. Of course, maybe that has been done on select counties or a number of counties, but that can be extended. But in order to be able to do that, it also means that we have to invest a lot in the development of the land information management systems. And I think that's why FAO has been in the forefront in terms of securing tenure by being able to build systems not only at the national level through the development of ADIS as a platform, but also in the counties through the county land information management systems that would be able to clearly identify the farm locations, and that would make it a lot more easier to be able to get the farmers mapped, and even to be able to map the kind of crops that they're growing. And then when looked at a given scale, it provides the information in a much simpler way to be managed, and for the necessary support to be distributed to these farmers. And examples have been given, for example, in the case of fertilizer, the distribution of fertilizer, that previously a lot of these fertilizers were not getting to the correct people. They would get lost. But if you have been able to map the farmers and they're able to interact with you through some form of a platform, then it would be much easier to be able to do that. So of course, as I'm saying that a number of farmers have been mapped. I think the last I had, we have about 8 million farmers that have already been mapped in the system that Usna was talking about, but that can be extended further, and we can improve on that by really tying down on the land information management system. Without that critical infrastructure, it becomes very difficult to have those farmers, because you cannot just map the farmers as points. We need to be able to have those polygons which identify clearly their location. And then, of course, making use of Earth observation data to be able to look at the interplay between these data sets would help to bring in the answers that the various people in administrative positions need to make to sustain the agricultural productivity in the country.
Wow, thank you so much. So, last but not least, Vivian, tell us, what keeps you up at night? You know, what do you do at Locate IT, and what are some of the most important things that maybe you don't talk about enough? You know, I think this is your platform now to tell us, you know, and maybe what we need to pay more attention to. What do you?
Thank you, Jared. Yeah, you asked me a question of what keeps me awake at night. And to be very honest, a lot. When you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of very many castles you build at night. You actually don't sleep. So anyway, to get right into the question, yeah, so Locate IT is a geo-ICT company based here in Nairobi, but we do pride in calling ourselves a Pan-African company, because really our vision is to provide geospatial and Earth observation services across the African continent. And what we do primarily over the last couple of years has been to build geospatial and Earth observation-based solutions. And not only in the traditional way where we used to do a lot of mapping that ended up in reports, but now through systems that are interconnected, through dashboards that are speaking and disseminating various data sets, and also collecting to enhance delivery of this kind of services to different target groups. Our focus areas really have been in very many sectors, but broadly over the last 5 years, we have a lot of services that we have built around environment, agriculture, health, climate change, and also marine and coastal environment ecosystems. So very specific again to the topic on sustainable land and agriculture management. We've had the opportunity to build various solutions for the market. A lot of us maybe in the room might remember we had, over the last 5 years, worked on a program we called Africultures, which was looking to build a digital platform for dissemination of Earth observation-based data that supports agriculture within the African continent. We also did work on a program called Kilimo, and here we were trying to really downscale and customize precision agriculture solutions for the African continent, a case of really working in one of the rural counties in Kenya. So in this instance, we've had the opportunity again to bring in a lot of our GIT skills to develop not only tools that either support with dissemination of this sort of data on where to farm, how to farm, etc., but also to monitor and to evaluate different agricultural-based programs and their interventions, and really to create linkages that are able to showcase what has been done where, by whom, and what are the gaps, or where are the gaps that really need to be filled. In the recent past, we've had an opportunity to also build a livestock traceability system that is looking to support with your typical government vaccination programs that are going to trace where the animals are, so that then we get to have an understanding of, you know, how much or which sort of livestock have been vaccinated at what given points, just to support also with traceability when it comes to export for some of these commodities. Broadly, again, just picking up from what the previous presenters have said, particularly Husna and Eric, in particular with emphasis on how it has become increasingly important to structure and build land information management systems in this country. So I'll give an example. And this is drawn from our experiences around the Kilimo project, which was looking to innovate for the maize production, especially with smallholder farmers in Vihiga County. And one of the main challenges that we had in executing or showcasing the utilization of EO was in the fact that we could not get actual cadasters for the agricultural areas. So what we did within this program was to come up with innovative ways, and this is part of our work, to demystify or to delineate agricultural boundaries. So you have parcel boundaries of just the crop boundary areas where agriculture is being performed. So within the larger parcel of land, of a land parcel, then where is agriculture being performed in by a specific farmer, for instance. So we developed an agriculture cadastre that was able to delineate different cropping areas. So where is the maize, where is the banana, where is the coffee within the same parcel of land. And here we were building tools that ideally bring in artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms and basically are able to delineate these boundaries on the same. Very much you asked the question on what is the state of agriculture in this country. Like has been said again, siloed, uncoordinated, extremely complex and fragmented, all manner of solutions all over the place. Sometimes you talk to the farmers and they tell you, I mean, they get bombarded with a lot of solutions. You talk to government, there's all manner of initiatives going on, very uncoordinated by different partners, etc., etc. But one of the things that as industry and also as a company we've been trying to do is to leverage on some of the experience we've had from the programs to not only sort of like lobby government to invest more into the adoption of EO, both at policy level and also at implementation level, where then it can be clear that Earth observation is actually the driver of even programs like farmer registration. So you find instances where traditionally, I think over the last couple of years, government has moved from either doing manual registrations to sometimes digital, and these digital registrations are one point of allocation. You look at some of that data and the point of the farmer falls on top of their household. So when it comes to crop monitoring and providing additional services that are going to look at farm level specific evidence support, then you find challenges. So how then again, as a sector, can we continue to leverage on the existing technologies, especially with the emerging tech, AI, ML, to support with farmer registration services to ensure that government only picks, like for instance, the point location, but rather endeavors to create polygons that then can be updated across different seasons based on how the farming and cropping patterns are changing. There are very many other, of course, challenges and dynamics of smallholder farming, mixed cropping services that then we can continue to do. But within Kilimo, I think one of the best solutions that we tried to showcase was to show how then within one house we can demonstrate an end-to-end agriculture service for the farmer. So you have different initiatives such as the subsidy of fertilizer distribution services by government, but you find that government only looks at, for instance, procuring the subsidy, the fertilizer, but never entirely thinks about or crafts a solution around how these fertilizers, first of all, understanding where the farmers are, what quantities, how do you validate that a specific farmer X has, say, 10 acres of land compared to farmer Y who has 2 acres of land. So when it comes to distribution, how then we were able to demonstrate, for instance, the use of geospatial tech to validate, first of all, a specific farm exists, first of all. Secondly, they are ready to plant because again, if you're planting for specific known seasons, especially like crops like maize, then you're able to clear your land well in advance, probably about even a month or so. So you can be able to use this to validate using earth observation. And therefore, if a farmer is coming to for instance, apply for subsidy, you can validate and see that from their parcel of land that is 10 acres, only 2 acres has been cleared, for instance, for planting. There are other aspects that support also the distribution now of this fertilizer subsidy, elements to the various farmers and understanding the different dynamics. So putting all these elements in terms of even the weather, giving information that is appropriate to the farmer. When exactly do you plant? Which specific day, what specific month, or what specific week is very important, because again, you find a lot of farmers either plant too early and face challenges such as, I think we had a lot of experiences seeing farmers had to do replanting after like 2 or 3 weeks, because when they planted, there was like a false rain that started, and then after like 2-3 days, it went dry, and there was a dry spell for another 3 weeks before the season actually offset. And you see some of these challenges then thinking around building an entire end-to-end ecosystem that brings together tools that farmers use, simple technologies, either it's an application or an SMSing system that helps us to gather the information on the interventions they actually put in their farms. And this is very important for those of you who are, or those of us who are remote sensing experts. When it comes to yield estimations, you would like to understand what specific inputs were actually planted in a specific farm, what fertilizer, what seeds, for instance, when exactly were they planting, because they help you to ideally be able to demonstrate a clear and a better yield estimation output. So with all this, we built an e-extension services platform that brings together all these different data sets and enables the simplification of extension service provision at county level. So here we were able to work with extension officers, just about 10 of them. We struggled with that again. You have about a county that has about 300,000 farmers, just having roughly about 30 extension officers who double up as agriculture extensionists, fisheries, and also livestock. So you find that they may never have the ample time to actually address each and every farmer within every growing season. So one of the key challenges, again, was for us to be able to just demonstrate how we can simplify their communication measures so that extension services are only provided to farms that specifically need this. So through this app, we're able to now create like the utilize crop condition maps that were looking at the health of the crops in the different farms, crop anomaly maps, and disseminate this to the extension farmers through the application, to the extension officers through the application, who would then choose which farmers within their jurisdiction, based on the anomalies that they see from the farms, would they then visit. So that, of course, introduces an element of efficiency that then you're able to only address farmers who need support, and some of these issues can be flagged up early enough within the season. So I think in a nutshell, that's just some of the solutions or activities that as a company we are involved in. On the larger scale of things, there's a lot of solutions on land information management systems, a lot of work we've done to build and to demonstrate how land information management systems can be used to collect revenue, streamline sources of transactions for land records, and also creation of integrated county geospatial systems for counties.
Thank you. The MC at the back is making eye contact. I know we are coming up on time. But if you could take like maybe 10 or 20 seconds. On one hand, we have many systems, many fragmented systems, and on the other hand, we have gaps still. Farmers are not happy, are they? So do we have a saturation of solutions, or the problem is scaling? Like, what's your take? Like Vivian, if you could take like just a few seconds to tell us, what's your take?
So the solutions are there. Challenge is normally the adoption. So I think we've struggled a lot with that. And I think one of the key things that we can be able to do for this country, and especially through KSA with the communities of practice, is to ensure that we institutionalize the utilization of EO and provide clear implementation procedures of what it means to run geospatial-based agriculture database systems, for instance. So you look at, for the case of Europe, they have this thing they call the Common Agriculture Policy, which has really worked for them to institutionalize the use of EO. It clearly states utilization of Earth observation and geospatial technologies to support even with farmer subsidy programs. So that then a program like subsidy distribution doesn't have to just look at that one component, but then you can provide like a bundled service. So in as much as you benefit from the subsidy, you can also benefit from crop monitoring and other weather and other market access information that can be bundled up together.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So now that we have 5 minutes left, I know we are going to use the next 5 minutes maybe as our parting shot. So Eddie, you'll go first, and perhaps I'd like you to just also use a few seconds of that to just maybe say something to the innovators, because yesterday we had the Africa Earth Observation Challenge. You know, what advice can you share with them so that they can scale? As we wind up, we'll take a minute each as we wind up on time. Thank you.
Okay. So the interesting thing is, when I used to work at Gordon and we were looking at data sets in agriculture in Kenya, we faced a very big problem, which was there was lots of promises. We worked with most of you who are here in the room in the different working groups, but the challenge we had as innovators and also as builders was everyone promises data, says we'll open up our data, come talk to us, but then it's just stories. So, and of course, we all want to work with open data sets. So from an AntuGrow perspective, what we have right now, and you can visit, is we have api.antugrow.com, which we have opened up our own system to allow innovators, and innovators have actually used our system to build services. So which means as an innovator, you don't have to go and figure out how to get NDVI data, NDMI data. So you actually can easily integrate with our API. It's open access. And of course, we rate limited it for security. You can access that also for our own machine learning models, which we've trained ourselves, which are award-winning. So that's publicly available. And what we would implore to the players in the room is, why can't you open up, your service? Why can't OACA have api.oaca? Why can't we have API? I'm sure FAO has APIs. Vivian, why can't we have api.locateIt? Why can't we? So why can't we have all these things being very practical? Because innovators really want to use this. So you might be afraid that maybe someone will use your API to compete with you, but really that actually extends your service. So we've seen builders and people we've never even met reaching out to us on WhatsApp. So using our service in hackathons. We are open also to working with the players in the room who want to build solutions through hackathons and with innovators. And then the other bit we'd also employ is, from our service perspective, we've condensed lots of data into a simple service which can just search and say, it's really Google for agriculture. So built in Kenya, built by Kenyans. So I want to plant this where? So a 50 by 100 plot maybe in Kiambu might not be the same value as an acre maybe in Kiambu as well, depending on the location. But if you can actually use the model we have, then you can see the value of this land based on the soil content, the carbon matter, which you all provide using our models, and also knowing the estimated yields and the climate conditions. So that also helps in knowing how best you can manage your resource. So my parting shot would be that we are open, and let's actually walk the talk. And farmers only care about making money. Yes, we can say we have lots of solutions, but a farmer will ask you, how do I make money? You can go with a very fancy solution, but then how does this farmer make money? They're actually building a business. We can say we have smallholder farmers, large-scale farmers, but they're all actually seeking to make a living. So whatever solutions we're providing, Madam Husna, how can we get it to increase the growth of our economy? Because we can't just be throwing solutions and then walk away write a good pilot, have a good grant proposal, and then this farmer ends up being more impoverished because you walked away, you only had your KPIs to report, but there's no contribution to the economy. So what we are doing is ensuring that they also earn and also that we can build a business case.
Yeah, Asante. So, Husna, parting shot. I know we are,
Thank you.
doing bad.
Yeah, indeed. For farmers, it's about you have to do a business case. For them, it's about earning, and anything which is going to cut off from there, they will not. But I think what has been stated here is clearly we need to institutionalize this. Allow me to give just one example. The land use, the planning aspects, the land planning aspects, why we are proudly saying that is one of the areas which has been institutionalized, because there is a caption in law talking of that all planning has to be GIS based. So that's already tells us a lot in this case. So the same thing probably, this is what we need to do. And you've heard it when she talked of, Vivian talked about the aspects of institutionalizing the use of technology at all those levels. So for me, I think that is one thing. And then also putting things to scale. Everybody's piloting, as everybody has said it here. Putting things to scale is what matters. And I think everybody wants to embrace something which is working. So the bit of the coordination, the bit of removal of silos is what we need to bring on the table and be able to ensure that we create a business case at all levels. And we all know that the aspects of capacity also very, very important. We don't take things which are so complicated, even for a farmer to really be able to embrace. And I like when earlier on Kasera was talking about the aspects of indigenous knowledge, the adoption or the coordination and the merging of the indigenous knowledge and the modern discussion is very, very crucial. So we don't take complicated things to our farmers. We need to have them actually embrace it and embrace this, own it up, and this will really create a lot of sustainability of the processes. This also applies with the policymakers and the duty bearer to be able to really embrace this, have it, they own it themselves, let them move with the process. When the ownership is done, we are guaranteed sustainability. It should not really be a one-off thing, and this will allow actually business continuity. Thank you very much.
Asante. Eric, parting shot, please.
Yeah, thanks. So what we are saying is that the Earth observation use in agriculture and, of course, extended services is growing. It has a potential to grow further. And we can support that by building and deploying easy-to-use applications, especially for the farmers out there. And as I've said, that can either be done through smart-enabled phones or, say, USSD services that with simple questions already inbuilt, like maybe when do I plant, but of course localized to fit in the locality where that a particular farmer is located. And we have a lot of potential, of course, in this country in building solutions. So I believe we have a lot that has been done that we just need to synthesize and get them extended or used beyond the current reach at the moment. But I've seen very beautiful applications. I've seen a lot of efforts being brought up by different companies, and I think we have a unique chance to really mainstream this technology and take proper advantage of it to provide the much required solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Parting shot is on partnerships, funding. and policy. So the reason I'd go with that is because I think one of the greatest challenges we've also experienced within the EO space in agriculture was this technology or space is deemed as a very expensive venture. EO, I mean, you work with planets, you know, so just selling satellite imagery and somebody's like, okay, this number of millions for just a satellite imagery, really? Yeah, so I think let's leverage on partnerships and see how we can be able to link the application areas. If it's agriculture, the same imagery can be used to support land investments, health, population, and other things, so that then we not only look at it as an expensive venture, but rather think of the long-term solution so that we can sustainably support the ecosystem. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So we are done. So we can go back. No, the guy keeps looking at me like I'm doing something bad. So let me just hand it over to him. So thank you so much. We can, yes.
Maybe we can stay up there at the top for just a photo session. And then I know you have multiple questions. All right, wonderful. We can give them a clap as they head back to their seats. Wonderful, wonderful. Those are some great conversations. It's actually really interesting if you try and move in between the rooms, because when Jared, you came up here, you mentioned that people should stay here because this is the more interesting community of practice. And it actually provoked certain thoughts inside my head where I was thinking, okay, now, what's the reason why you guys would stay here and not go to the space systems engineering side? And then I was walking around and just interacting with the audience, and I found very many interesting minds. As I was listening up here, Ms. Meta, she mentioned about traceability of the vaccination of livestock. And then from here, I just went into the other room because I have a close friend on the other side who's more of an electrical engineer, and he's a very passionate farmer. And then I get to the other side, I tell him, bro, you know they're going to start tracing if you vaccinated your livestock. And then his engineering mind immediately went to, now they want to put chips inside my cows. It was really interesting. But basically what I'm trying to put across is, these two different community of practice that we're trying to enrich here as we have this panel of discussions, they're more so connected, because what I would say is that the earth whispers its needs from the ground, and space answers with clarity now from the skies. These two worlds are interconnected, and it is up to us to more of nurture ourselves and enrich ourselves in order to better their communities, especially the farmers that we're talking about, who are the end users, and also the engineers on the other side who want to push forward the innovation in space industry. All right, so I am assuming that also on the other side they're just about to wind up. So right after this, we're going to go in for tea break. I know some people have already started feeling the aroma of the, is it the croissant or the croissant? How do you pronounce it? It depends with the school you went to there. All right. Yeah, we can now proceed on for our refreshments, and then afterwards, we're going to be coming back for another 2 different sessions. One is going to be disaster risk reduction and climate action, and then also concurrently run with space science and astronomy. The moderator for the disaster risk is going to be the one and only Madam Yariwo Kitio. You can maybe wave your hand to the audience. She's over there. Very energetic lady. And then for the space science and astronomy, it's going to be tall man called John Mark Ochieng. I don't see him inside here. He's already in the space systems, or he's already having the croissants, as I can see from the back there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, maybe you can rise to your feet as now we proceed to have our refreshments. Thank you. All right, yeah, as you've heard, only 15 minutes. 15 minutes. right, ladies and gentlemen, we can now proceed back into the ballrooms. So we may continue. Ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed back to our seats. I know the meal is tantalizing.